Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature HD 18. I live in Shepherd, Texas. I've been there since the mid-90s. I was actually born in Kentucky, grew up in Tennessee, and I've been in Texas since 5th grade, really. I used to live in the Sugar Land area. So I've been here in Shepherd since the mid-90s. I'm the pastor of King of Saints Church in Cleveland, Texas. I have 30 years of military experience, which includes 2 combat deployments and 4 years on the border mission. I'm the author of several books, and I'm also an artist and illustrator, and I've done some work in independent Christian filmmaking. So that's who I am. I want to talk about the agenda. Why do I want to go and represent the people of HD 18, which is Liberty and San Jacinto County? My home is in San Jacinto County. My pastor in Liberty. Of course, we also have East Montgomery County, and we have Hardin County as well. I'm very concerned about this community, which I've lived in for most of my life. And the biggest challenge we have here now is Colony Ridge. And this is a very shady, corrupt real estate development that, according to reports, is under cartel control for the most part. Law enforcement admits that they can't handle the situation. Local law enforcement is out of control up in Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston. And what we have is 75,000 mostly illegal aliens that have settled there, and it's expected to grow to 250,000 to 250,000. A lot of the elected officials, like the school superintendent, for instance, they're not working in the best interest of the citizens and their constituents of this House district. They're looking to profit themselves and line their own pockets through Colony Ridge. And I want this election to be a referendum. Yes, the movers and shakers, they want Colony Ridge. They want you to think that it's inevitable. They want you to think even that it's out of their hands. They want you to think there's nothing you can do to stop it. But we can stop it. And we need to make this election a referendum on Colony Ridge. Let the people, not the movers and shakers, not the powers that be, but the people should decide if we want this entire House district to be controlled, be the majority of the population to be here illegally, to be under cartel control. Is that what we want for people who have lived in here? A lot of people who live in this area, their families have been here for generations. And now it's not safe, and a lot of people have left, and a lot of people are thinking about leaving. And that should not be the case. We need to work in the best interest of our community, and Colony Ridge is not that. And, of course, Trey Harris is behind Colony Ridge, but the legislation was created. It's called House Bill 4341. It was introduced surreptitiously by Ernest Bales. This is really unethical. I think it's really, really unethical what he did. Is you have local and uncontested matters, and he introduced a law that protected Colony Ridge, that allowed Colony Ridge to be the private fiefdom of Trey Harris. He wrote this legislation in the interest of Colony Ridge and his friend and hunting buddy, Trey Harris. And instead of debating it, he dishonestly entered this legislation, this bill, this proposed legislation, into local and uncontested matters. What does that mean? Well, that means like a small town getting a new squad car or a fire engine or maybe road improvements, things like that. Things for some reason they needed to pass legislation for it, but it doesn't have any bearing, and it's really uncontroversial. It doesn't have any bearing for the rest of the state. Of course, this is going to hurt our entire county, and it could be very destructive. Colony Ridge could be very destructive, not just the state of Texas, but to the nation. And Ernest Bales dishonestly entered it into local and uncontested matters, and it wasn't even debated. Honestly, he had help with State Senator Robert Nichols as well. But Colony Ridge is Ernest Bales' baby, and he's been lying about it. Oh, I didn't have any hand in creating Colony Ridge. Oh, how did this happen? Where did it come from? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, he wrote that legislation. He gave special protections and favors to Trey Harris. He's behind it, and he's been trying to protect and grow Colony Ridge, and he still is. So we need to repeal, and I will do it. We're going to repeal House Bill 4341. And then we're going to look into the drainage. We're We're going to hold Colony Ridge liable for the harm they've done, the environmental damage, the flood damage, sewage problems, and pollution. We're going to tackle a multi-front attack on Colony Ridge. And people who are affected by it I've talked to. Of course, I've been there and I've seen it multiple times. Can we totally erase Colony Ridge? I'll try to, but we can definitely stop it from growing and bring accountability. And there's other avenues which we need to approach, such as lawsuit. But number one, the biggest, the most pivotal issue is Colony Ridge. I'm going to close it down. Ernest Bales created Colony Ridge, of course, with Trey Harris. And he can feign ignorance, but he did. He wrote that legislation. He introduced it. It's not my opinion that he helped create Colony Ridge and the problems that we face. It's a matter of fact. And I heard him admit it, but of course, thanks to Attorney General Ken Paxton, whom Ernest Bales voted to impeach, we have the information that we need to stop Colony Ridge. This is the most important issue that this community faces. And right now we have 4 candidates running. That would be number 1, Ernest Bales, who is going to make sure they think they can manage growth here. It's unmanageable as it is. We need to have accountability. But Ernest Bales is part of the problem. He helped create Colony Ridge. That's not my opinion. That's fact. Number 2, we have Janice Holt. People are concerned about Janice Holt in that she lives too far away to tackle the issue. And there's concerns that she might, in the end, throw in her lot with Colony Ridge and, in the end, be Ernest Bales 2.0. We need to just close Colony Ridge down. I don't think Janice Holt is necessarily a bad person. She's a more moderate Republican. But I think we need somebody that's going to make it their first priority to get rid of Colony Ridge. And then there's also Mr. Duke, who's also running for state representative. So there's 4 of us for now. There might be more. The names on the ballot is going to be finalized on December the 11th. And of course, I'll honestly deal with all these problems and issues and candidates that we have. So number 1, the number 1 priority we have, close down Colony Ridge. Number 2, we have a rhino problem in Austin. We have all these people who run as Republicans, but they legislate as Democrats. One of the people that does this is Ernest Bales. Of course, we also have Dave Phelan, and it's important for Texas voters, the grassroots Republicans, to get engaged and to vote all these rhinos out. We've had special session after special session after special session, and the governor wants the Republican majority House of legislation, the House of Representatives, the Texas State House. He wants them to pass conservative policy agendas, and they won't do it because of Dave Phelan. Dave Phelan works to make sure that the Democrats, even though they're the majority party, he works with them. It's a bargain he makes. It says, okay, you, the Democrats, you vote as a bloc, vote for me. I'll be the Speaker of House, but Republican in name only. Under him, the Democrat Party is firmly in control. So we need to stop this. We need to vote Dave Phelan out and all the rhinos and get very serious, committed, passionate, conservative Republicans like myself. Another issue I think is very important. We have to have educational reform. And our schools are failing our children. And I think that we need to engage the situation with education because people know what's going on. Maybe 5 years ago, you tell people it's like, our public schools even are left wing. And people weren't aware of that, and you tried to tell them that, and it'd be hard for them to believe you. But now it's common knowledge. Concerned parents across the country see the need for educational reform. So we have these left-wing, radical teachers' unions, and they're politicizing the education system, even public education. They're indoctrinating our children into left-wing politics, and this has to stop. And one of the ways we can break the power of these corrupt and left-wing teachers' unions is by having school choice. This means that you would choose whatever school that you want your child to go to. That the money that's designated for your child follows them wherever you put them. So you can put them in a Christian school. You can put them in a private school. And this is very important because it's going to improve the quality of the education. Other states have it. The public school system, they want to maintain a monopoly over education. Even though they're failing, they don't care about that. They care about power and control. But we need to put the interests of our children first. And look at these other states. Arizona has school choice, and it's been good for students that are going to private schools. Students are going to Christian schools, but it's also been good for the children who are going to the public schools. The quality of education there has improved because that's what competition does. We want the best choices and alternatives for our children, and you get that through school choice. Ernest Bales is a minion. He's a little minion of the left-wing, critical race theory, Marxist teachers' unions. And he's so passionate in support of left-wing teachers' unions that he's been working with them. Ernest Bales has been working with the left-wing teachers' unions to flip Texas from a red state to a blue state. And he went to a teachers' union rally in Houston to run against our Republican lieutenant governor, to defeat him, to bring in a left-wing lieutenant governor, and also his stated intent to flip Texas from being a red state to being a blue state. And he wore a purple shirt to show his solidarity with the transitioning Texas from conservative to liberal. So we need school choice. And Governor Abbott is trying to push school choice, and Ernest Bales has been opposing it all the way. Another issue that's important to me is the pro-life issue. I'm thankful, I thank God that we have had finally, because of the agency of Donald J. Trump, we've been able to repeal Roe versus Wade. And there's a lot of work to be done, and we need to be passionate in our defense of the sanctity of human life and celebrate life and work to protect unborn babies. And also we should be instructing people, young men and women, in the value of human life and that abortion is a wrong choice. And we need to maintain what we've been through my entire life. The Republican Party has been a pro-life party, a party opposed to abortion, and we need to stay that way. We need to continue to support life and to support the unborn. And people are saying, well, we're losing some elections here and there on the abortion issue. Maybe people are, supporting the Democrats because of their loyalty to abortion. We're going to do what's right no matter what, and God is going to bless us. We're not going to compromise our moral principles. We're not going to compromise moral principles or sacrifice our integrity. And we're going to take a stand on the Word of God. We're going to take a stand on the Bible. We're going to take a stand for life and continue to fight for the pro-life cause. Also, border security. It's my belief that we need to declare an invasion on the southern border. And the governor should just issue an edict that a state of emergency and declare that we are being invaded. We've had probably over 8 million illegal aliens come in since Biden seized power and the Biden regime took over and opened the floodgates. And this is really hurting our entire country. And finally, I hate to see this happening because it's really hurting our Americans all across this country. But finally, left-wing strongholds that call themselves sanctuary cities are seeing the problems that come with an open border, because now the entire country is an open border. I was listening to the Texas Scorecard today, and all this illegal immigration is costing the state of Texas billions upon billions of dollars. In fact, the cost of illegal aliens is costing Texas 10% of its total spending. And this is educating illegal aliens is unfunded liability that we have to pay for. It's not fair. So the cost of government, the cost of governance, 10% of that is for people who aren't here legally, that are not citizens. So American citizens, our veterans, we all have to go to the back of the line while the priority is put on illegal aliens. I worked on the border with the National Guard for 4 years. I worked with Customs and Border Protection. I worked with the Border Patrol. I went to the port of entries. I've been at the wall. I've been on ranches at the border. I've been all along the Rio Grande, across over half the state of Texas, even in the area around El Paso. So I'm very familiar with the border, and I think that we need to be tough on the border. And I know what policies work and I know what policies don't work because I work the border with the military. I've seen it for myself and I have experience on the border. And that's another reason why you should vote for me. I don't think that there's anybody in the Texas State House and the legislature that's familiar with border security and how the border works as much as I am. And we need people who know the border and know the importance of border security and have experience working the border as I do. So I also want to say that we need to support Donald Trump. This election is a Trump election, and the Republican Party needs to support Donald Trump. He is the way forward, and a lot of people, a lot of Republicans, their whole life have been frustrated by the Republican Party because there's so many Republicans in name only and left-wing Republicans, people who talk a good game but don't walk the walk. It's distressing to me to see how committed Democrats are to Marxism and communism, and yet, we're willing just to cave into the Democrats. Our Republican leaders are, on the other hand, not me. I'm not going to cave into the left or Democrats, but that's what that's their modus operandi. That's how they operate. Just, surrendering at the drop of the hat, and they'll drop their hat so they can surrender. Weakness and cowardice from the Republican Party for so long. We need change, and that's what we get with Donald Trump, somebody who's willing to do what he says he's going to do. And what did Donald Trump bring? He brought peace. He brought peace. He brought global peace, and he also brought prosperity. And we need to restore Americans' greatness, and we're going to do this through the Make America Great Again movement with Donald J. Trump. I also want to say, and I agree with Ken Paxton on this, we have to confront the issue of election integrity. We had voter fraud at a massive level in Harris County, and it's a disgrace. And recently, I want to recommend you watch the movie by Dinesh D'Souza called 2,000 Mules. So what happened recently, they try to ignore what Dinesh D'Souza was saying, but right now, there's Democrat on Democrat voter fraud. You can see Democrats going and stuffing ballots. And since it was Democrat and Democrat voter fraud, the courts intervened and called for a new election for them. But if Democrats steal an election, nobody has the courage to overturn those elections as they should. The elections should represent the will of the people. That's the problem with voter fraud, is that when someone steals, it's like, for instance, when Joe Biden stole the election from the legitimately elected president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. When he did that, he wasn't stealing the election from Trump. He's stealing it from the American people. The American people voted for Donald J. Trump to be president, and there's no way in the world that Joseph Biden got more votes than Barack Obama, and there's no way that Biden got more votes than any previous presidential candidate in American history. There's just no way. He did not get 81 million votes. It's impossible. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. He lost the election, and they stole it. And when you're as far ahead as Trump was the night before, statistically, he was the victor, and they stole it from him. And that means they actually stole it from the American people, that this is a regime that overthrew the government. And we have to tackle the issue of voter fraud. I was at January 6th. I want to say I was there all day long. I didn't see any violence. And we have to tackle the issue of January 6th, because we need to find out exactly how many FBI agents were there dressed up as Trump supporters and what they were doing, engaging in violence or inciting violence. And we need to hold these people accountable. So I am not ashamed that I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not ashamed that I was at January 6th. And that's part of the reason why I believe you should vote for me. If I win, and I'm going to, I will be the first January 6er elected. And I'm going to fight for my fellow January 6ers. And we're going to bring them justice, and we're going to hold the people who have victimized patriotic American citizens accountable for the crimes that they have committed. And we're going to do to them what they did to us. So I'm a Trump supporter. You love President Trump, vote for me. I am the MAGA candidate. I am Ultra MAGA. I'm the Ultra MAGA man, or the Mega MAGA man. That's who I am. So our freedoms are under attack. And that's a very serious thing, that we don't even have a representative government. If they're stealing our votes, as they did in Harris County, as they did nationally in the 2020 election. But what is the left going against? What are they after? They're trying to create a totalitarian police state. Once again, watch the movie by Dinesh D'Souza called Police State. And I also want to encourage you to watch the movie by Nick Searcy, who's in Police State, He's the actor from the film, the TV series Justified. He made a movie called Capital Punishment. Check it out. Be informed of what's going on. What is the objective of the FBI and the Democrat Party? They want to subvert and abolish our United States Constitution. They have been carrying out censorship on a massive scale. It's horrific. We don't have freedom of speech anymore. And that the FBI has been directing Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to silence conservative voices. We have to fight for our freedom of speech and gain it back and punish these people who have attacked our constitutional liberty. These people are seditionists, saboteurs, and traitors, and they need to be held accountable. It's unbelievable to think that this would ever happen in the United States of America. It is, and we need serious people who are going to fight back so we can preserve our Constitution and our liberty. And I have fought for our country. I was at Iraq. I've been to Iraq twice. I put on a military uniform, I put on body armor and a helmet, and I carried a weapon, fighting for our country. And there's different ways we can fight. Now we need to fight legislatively to preserve the American way of life. So freedom of speech, freedom of religion. The FBI is trying to attack traditionalist churches. Specifically, we know that they're attacking old school Catholic churches, but I can guarantee you they're going after evangelical churches as well. We have to protect religious freedom. And we have to hold all those who would attack our cherished and essential constitutional liberties. We have to hold them accountable for what they've done to us, what they're trying to do to our country. Also, the right to bear arms. The Democrat Party wants to disarm the American people because they have sinister plans for us, and they don't want us to be able to defend ourselves or fight back when they try to implement their Soviet Stalinistic system, and they're already beginning it. So these are very serious issues. I should have wore a suit and a tie, and later on I will. But, let's have fun. Let's have fun. This is exciting to be able to engage in our constitutional voting and electoral system. So I get to go out there and engage voters, inform voters, and ask them to vote for me. Because I'm telling you, I have your best interest at heart. I love you. I care about you. I love my country. I love our Constitution. And I want to protect the essential freedoms that we enjoy so that we can have a positive future. Things look very dark. Since the Biden administration, the Biden regime seized power, they're systematically dismantling our entire country and stripping us away of all of our freedoms. And they're taking away from us opportunities. I want to tell you something that we need to fight on is like the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a Marxist system. It's a discriminatory system. It's anti-constitutional. It's anti-American. And we need to stand up against things like that because we're supposed to have equal justice for all. The Bible says that God so loved the world. That means everybody, black, white, Hispanic. I've traveled the world. I've been to Africa. I've been to India. I've been all across the Middle East and Europe. God loves all peoples, and we should too. That's important for us to have love, and having this discriminatory system of DEI is unacceptable. It represents an attack against everything that America stands for and everything that's made America great. We need to have equal opportunity for all. So I want to ask that you vote for me. Tell other people that we could stop Colony Ridge, and then we're going to have a real fighter for our freedoms and the American way of life, for Texas values, if you vote for me. So election date, the date we're aiming toward is March the 5th. It's March the 5th. That's election day. But there's early voting. So register to vote, vote early, and encourage other people to vote. And like I said, to me, this is a referendum on Colony Ridge. That's the most important issue. If you care about that, if you're concerned about what's going on with Colony Ridge, vote for me and tell other people that we can take a stand against Colony Ridge. This election is a referendum on Colony Ridge, and on March 5th, 2024, we can strike the death knell on Colony Ridge, and it will be over. And we can save our community, preserve our House District and our counties, and preserve our traditional way of life that we've enjoyed, which is now in peril because of the schemes of Ernest Bales and Colony Ridge. So please get involved, please vote, and please encourage people to vote and inform people that we have choices, important choice to save our House district in 2024. So I'm here every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. If you want to meet me in person, I'm at King of Saints Tabernacle, my church, and we're going to be praying for our country every Wednesday night. I have other events which will be announced on this channel and other social media accounts that I use. So thank you for your time. God bless you, and I hope to see you soon.